Hi everybody, this is Rob Milanovich with This Board Game Life, and I'm excited to show you a brand new game from Dr. Finn's Games called the Institute for Magical Arts. This is a game that's coming up on Kickstarter pretty soon, and let's take a look, see what it's all about. So you see here a basic setup for the game of the Institute for Magical Arts, but please keep in mind this is a prototype version and is not 100% representative of the final product once the game is released. But we have the red player over there on the opposite side. The blue player is right over here. In the center, we have location cards numbered 1 through 6, each with its corresponding die face. Then in locations 1 through 5, we have a series of Institute cards. There's going to be 2 different kinds of Institute cards. First off, we have characters, which are these 2 right here. Characters will give you victory points, which you will definitely need in the game. And then the rest of the cards here, these other 3, they're tools. They're basically objects that can be used either to give you special abilities, special powers, special actions, or even victory points. The last 2 cards on the upper right over here, we have the portal. This is essentially kind of like a wild move card, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And then we have the ethereal realm, which lets you get victory points and a couple of other things, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Each player then has their player area, which is really divided up into 3 different zones. First off, on the right-hand side is where you have all of your active cards. These are cards that have not been used if they're one-time use cards, so they're available to be used, or they're permanent cards that you can use repeatedly, or actually once each turn, but repeatedly throughout the game. Then in the central area, this is where you have your action cards. So there's 6 action cards over here. There's 3 cast stones, 1 cast 2 stones, and 2 take stones, as well as your dice. What you'll be doing in the game is you'll be assigning these cards to the dice as you roll them, which will then in turn allow you to put your power stones up on the various locations right up here. The last zone is the one over here all the way on the left. This is where you have your victory point tracker. So you have your scorecard right here. Each player starts off with 3 points, and that's because each player has 2 victory tokens that they start off with and a card. So that card right there is worth 1 point. And I'll explain how that gets deciphered in a moment here. Then you also have 3 reroll tokens, which are these clear discs over here, and then your power stones. Each player starts with 5 power stones. There's also this handy little reference card right here that lists the 5 different phases in the game, which include assigning a dice to action cards, taking and casting power stones, using the portal, trigger phase 4 powers, and award phase. When you first start off the game, what you're going to be doing is you're going to take, there's 6 cards that are starter cards. They're denoted by a little symbol underneath the big flag over here. And then you take those and you shuffle those 6 cards and you randomly give those out, 1 each to each player. So I've already done that, and we have 1 card here and 1 card over there. Before we get on with the game and actually how it plays, let me go and delve a little bit into the cards and what the different symbols mean on the cards. So let's take a look. So here we have 3 cards, and there are actually 3 different varieties. And you can tell the variety of the card based on the symbol in the lower right-hand corner. So this one here is an instant with that downward arrow, meaning that you get its ability as soon as you acquire the card. Then moving over to the next one, this one has a little circle with 2 arrows. That is actually a permanent card, and then the number in that little zone right there basically helps resolution of the cards, because the cards are resolved in numerical order. So if your opponent has a number 2 card and you have a number 5 card, the number 2 is resolved before the 5. And then lastly, there's a one-time use card. This card over here is used whenever you want it. However, you can use it only once. I also do want to add that when you have permanent cards, you can use them once per turn, and you have to pay a power stone in order to use them, so they are not free. The other 2 cards are free. Moving on to the other symbols, in the upper right hand corner you have the victory point value of the card. So this is worth 1, that's worth 2, that's worth 6. You have the name of the card up at the top. At the upper left hand corner you have the cost of the card. Now there's 2 numbers over there. There's one in the big flag and then there's a number in the little circle. What those are is that the big number is the cost in Power Stones to acquire that card. So as you're placing Power Stones on different locations, you're looking to have at least, for example, in this one here, at least 3 Power Stones on that location in order to acquire that card. The smaller number is the surpass value, meaning that you have to have that many more cubes at that location than your opponent. So this one here, as an example, you need to have one more, a minimum of 1 cube more than your opponent. So for example, if you have 3 cubes on that location, your opponent has 2, you will successfully win that location and get that card and score the points, of course, and get the ability as well. If you both have 3, then the purchase price of 3 stones is met. However, the surpass cost is not. So then that card is not won, and then you have to keep going, upping the amount of Power Stones at that location in order to get it. Then lastly, in the lower left-hand corner, you have the number of the phase that that card is used in. So as an example, this is used in phase 5, which is at the award phase, and then this here is used in phase 4. Then let's take a look at how we play the game. So as I had mentioned before, the game is run in a series of phases, 5 phases to be exact. The first being assign dice to action cards, then followed by taking and casting Power Stones, then using the portal, then triggering phase 4 powers, and then using doing the award phase, where you basically go through and check to see if anybody's won anything, and then reset for the next turn. So in the first phase, again, that's assign dice to action cards. What you do is you take your 4 dice and you roll them. So let's go here and we'll roll these. And what we have is a 1, a 2, a 2, and a 4. At this point, you will take your 6 cards. Again, you can cast a stone, cast 2 stones, or take stones. So what you will do is you'll take these cards and you'll assign them to the different dice. So as an example here, I'll take cast a stone, put it on 1, cast a stone, put it on 2. I will take stones on 2, and then cast 2 stones on 4. As soon as both players have their cards locked down, and you do roll the dice simultaneously, you choose your action simultaneously, and then you put your cards down and you reveal simultaneously. So but then both players go through and they flip their cards over. And that is the end of phase 1. So that's rather quick, although occasionally you can ponder a little bit exactly what you're going to be doing with these different locations. So at this point, you go through and you take and cast Power Stones. So we have 5 Power Stones to begin with, and we go through the cards. We can do them left and right here, or just take stones, for example. So take stones, I'm going to be taking 2 stones. That's because I assigned it to the value 2 dice. If I had a 6 on there, I would take 6. Then you cast a stone on location 1, cast a stone on location 2, and cast 2 stones on location 4. So that's essentially phase 2. Now, of course, your opponent does the same thing. So here I'll put a couple of cubes out here. And let's say that that's what the red player did. At this point, you use the portal. So in this first turn, we haven't had any cubes go on location number 6, so we aren't going to be using the portal. However, if you did have a cube on there, so let's say that there was one on 6 here, what would happen is, using the portal, you have an option to do 2 things. Number one, let's say if there's a cube here, you would take the cube and possibly put it on any other location 1 through 5. And what you do is, let's say I wanted to put it on location number 4 over here. I would take one of the dice that I have and I would place it with the four pips pointing up, and I would have it hidden either by a card. I could use my hand to shield it. Either one works. Then simultaneously, if the other player has one as well, they would reveal what they're going to be doing, and then I would take this and move it to 4. As an alternative, if, let's say it's on the portal's on number 6, like it is, if I put a 6 down, what that allows me to do then is to move my cube over to the ethereal realm. And what the ethereal realm is it's a special card where the more power cubes you have on there, the more value of a reward that you get. So for example, 1 power cube is worth 1 victory point. 2 power cubes are worth 2 victory points and 3 reroll tokens. And you can only have a maximum of 3. So it basically just fills up your reroll token limit. If you go all the way to 3 power stones on here, that's 4 victory points, and 4 power stones is 4 victory points and the top card off of the draw deck. So it's quite a powerful card there, especially if you get up to 4 on there. However, you do kind of battle it out as the players try to vie for the position over here. So it's not quite as easy as it sounds. So let's say in our example, actually no, I won't do that. Okay, so at this point, the phase 3 is over, and then we're going to trigger phase 4 powers. So looking at my card over here, the Ring of Influence, I can roll a die and remove 1 opponent power stone from the die location. So why the heck not? Let's give that a try. So it's going to cost me 1 power stone in order to do this. And if my opponent had also wanted to use their phase 4 ability, keep in mind that I am number 1 here on this card. My opponent is number 5, so I get to resolve mine first before my opponent does. So you can see how if you're going to be removing stuff, it can be important or removing or adding, it can be important in the order that you do that in. So at this point, I'm going to roll a die. Let's see, what do I get? I get a 4, so I can remove an opponent's token from there. No, a power stone from there. I don't have an opponent one there, so that was kind of a wasted turn, or a wasted try there. So that was it for trigger phase 4 powers. After that, we do the award phase. And what you do with the award phase is you go through and you check to see if anybody's won anything, won any of the locations. So you start off with number 1, you work your way up to 6, and then you just basically count the cubes. So on this one, you need 4 with a surpass value of 2. Neither player has 4 over here, so nothing's won there. Same thing here, you need 3. There's nothing here, nothing there, and nothing on the remainder of the spots. At this point, nothing was purchased, so that we basically go through and we get ready for another turn. And let's go through one more quick turn so you can kind of get the gist of it. So we will take our dice once more and roll our dice. So let's make this a little interesting here. And let's say it's like this. We got a 1, a 2, a 5, and a 6. What we'll do is we will cast a stone onto 6. We will, let's say, take 5 stones, and then, actually let's change that. We'll cast 2 stones on 1. We will cast a stone on 2, and cast a stone on 6. Again, both players roll the dice, both players assign their cards. End of turn 2, phase 1 for turn 2. Then phase 2, you reveal your cards. You take stones, so we're going to take 5 from the general supply. I like that number, it's a lot. So we've got quite a bit of a reserve here. We're going to cast 2 stones on location 1, cast a stone on location 2, and then cast a stone on location number 6. We'll go through, and let's say our opponent went and did something like this. That looks good. We are now done with phase 2. Here we get to use the portal. So at this point, I have 2 options, being the blue player. I can move down to locations 1 through 5, or I can go to the ethereal realm and try to score some points. I will go and try to move my piece down to location number 1. So again, you hide your thing here, you hide your pips, and then you reveal it. It basically locks you in so you can't cheat. And then you move your power stone over. So that is the end of phase 3. What the heck? I'll try to use my card one more time. So it's going to cost me 1. And I'll roll a die, see if I can remove something for the red. Yeah, I get to remove this guy over here. So you remove the power stone. That's the end of phase 4. And again, we go to the award phase. So let's see if we won anything this time. Here, hey, look at that. We have a perfect situation over here where you need 4 to win that location. Blue has 4. And you need a surpass value of 2. And that's exactly what we have, since the red player has 2. So now, this card over here is scored immediately. It's won by the blue player, and it's scored immediately. These guys here go into the general supply as such, and then it's an immediate effect, and score as many victory points as characters you have. So we've got 1 character essentially, and we can score 1 point right there. We go on to the other cards here. Nothing here. We don't have anything there, nothing there, nothing there, and the rest we don't have anything. At this point, we have the end of the award phase, and we're basically going to set up for turn number 3. At this point, what you do is you move all of the cards down. So all the cards shift down towards the 1, as such. And the portal shifts as well. So the portal is going to go like that. We now get a new card drawn off the top of the deck, and it's put in the new location over here. The portal will keep shifting down per the turns. As soon as the portal gets back to a location, or gets down to location number 1, you immediately clear off all of the tokens that might be on it, and you move it back up to 6. So the portal never stays down on 1. Play proceeds like this up until one player gets 20 or more points, and then they are declared the winner. So that is the basic gist of it. It runs fairly quickly. At first, it takes a couple of turns to get some power stones out on the board, or out on the cards over here on the different locations. But after that, the play is fairly quick, although occasionally you might have a little bit of indecision, not quite analysis paralysis, but sometimes the decisions that you have on where to place your different cards are actually a little tough, just because, you know, hey, you really want to fight for that one card because it might be a great card, but this other card is really good too. So, you know, what do you do? Do you place your 2 stones or power stones over here? Do you place 1 over there? Do you go after the portal if it's possible? You know, it's not always an easy decision on what you want to do. And also using your reroll tokens over here. You start off with 3 in the game, and they can go quickly. Just because you had a really bad roll, use one of those tokens. It doesn't mean you're going to get another good. Does not mean you're going to get a good roll. You could get a worse roll. So you never really know in that aspect. But it's quite an enjoyable game, and I hope you have seen something that you like. So there you have it. That's a quick look at Dr. Finn's latest game, the Institute for Magical Arts. Dr. Finn's games has been well known, at least to me, to have really clever uses of dice and cards in the past, and this game is absolutely no different. It's got a couple of similarities to the game Roma by Stefan Feld, which definitely are very apparent to me, and also it combines some qualities of Dr. Finn's previous game, Capo di Capi, which I've also done a review for, and it brings those 2 games together in a really cool way. The decisions that you're making in the game are actually not easy, which was really surprising to me on the first game that I played. The decisions that you make you're going to be weighing the different locations and which one you're going to go after. What's your opponent going after? Do you try to block him and take that card that really might negatively affect you? Or do you go after something else that's more appealing to you? You know, how you use that portal card can be very important. You can literally shift the balance on a location just by clever use of that portal location, and you know, moving a couple power stones over to a card, and boom, you got it. Also, the way that the ethereal card is used, the ethereal realm card is used, can be kind of important as well, because that could be a quick way to a couple of points. If you need to recharge your reroll tokens, that's the only way to do it. If you're using those reroll tokens, you only have 3. You use them up, you're done. So it brings all these different elements together in a really cool way, and I've really enjoyed the game so far. I hope that's something that's interested you also, and I hope it's something that you want to take a look and investigate further. So thanks again, everybody. We'll catch you all next time.